Hello and welcome to Entertainment Review. I'm your host Ryan Canny, and today I'm here with Alex Pryor and Anthony Palazzolo, and we will be talking about The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is about Rey, a Force-sensitive woman who finds Luke Skywalker and trains to become a Jedi. Meanwhile, Kylo Ren and General Hux lead the First Order to chase down Leia and the Resistance for supremacy of the galaxy. Since the movie has been out now for 2 months, for this episode we will mostly be discussing our own opinions, so as a warning, spoilers ahead. To start off, guys, what do you guys think, an overall opinion of The Last Jedi?
I mean, I thought it was an overall great film. I thought it went along with the story of Star Wars well. I thought there was some really good character development in it. There were the problems that I had, there were very few problems that I had with the film, but the problems that I did have were, fairly big problems. So, I mean, we can talk more about that later, but it was just, I had some problems with some scenes that didn't quite fit well with the rest of the film.
Yeah.
I definitely see where you're coming from, and I agree for the most part that it overall was a really good film, but I don't know if I would say that it is great. I would say it's a decent film for Star Wars, but I just think that some of the major issues really are the reason that it lessened. It's definitely not in my top for at least Star Wars films or movies in general.
Mm-hmm. So right now we're going to start with the positive. So, what was your guys' favorite scene from the movie?
Ooh, mine was probably the Battle of Crate. That whole scene where all of the speeders are just rushing out of the gate, and they have to attack the big laser thing that's trying to hit through the gate. And then the fight between Kylo and Luke. I thought that was really sweet to end the movie on. And I thought it was just the dialogue during that, and I mean it wasn't much of a fight, but mainly the dialogue and the whole the chemistry between the two characters was just it was a really cool scene, and I really enjoyed that scene specifically.
I really like that scene, but my favorite would have to be when the rebellion is trying to escape onto the other planet and try to get away from the First Order, and the general, I can't think of her name, but she stays on the ship, and then they use the last of that fuel to try to take out the part of the First Order's ship, because not only was that whole thing, it was oh, are they going to make it or not, but after she attempted the lightspeed jump, when it the froze thing, I was in IMAX, and everyone in the movie just audibly went, oh, because it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. So sticking with the positive, what did you guys like about the movie? Just some other things that you guys liked.
Well, like he said, I really enjoyed the chemistry. I think that we got to see a lot more development in a good majority of the characters, like Rey and Kylo Ren. And I really enjoyed how they took out Luke Skywalker. It was kind of like how they did Obi-Wan and all the other. And that whole scene that you were talking about, the battle, it was probably one of my favorite parts.
I really like the part where they have the Falcon flying through the cave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
and they
every
play
time.
the old Trench Run music. It's really good. How did you guys feel about Luke's character in this? We sort of talked about this a bit, but did you guys like his arc?
I thought it was a pretty cool turn from seeing him back in Return of the Jedi, where he's just all upbeat about being a Jedi, and he's training the new Jedi Order, and he's bringing back the Jedi Knights and everything, to then go, how many years later is this, 30 years?
Yeah.
About 30 years later, and just the sudden change from we're gonna start the Jedi back, this is gonna be a big thing, to no, the Jedi Order should end, it doesn't belong in this world anymore, or I just thought it was a cool change, and I agreed with what Alex said earlier. I thought it was a good way to send him off in the series. I thought that was good.
Right. I kind of saw it in a different way. I liked it, but at the same time, it was not the best way. I thought they could have done it. I understand why, he was, he's seen some things, and so that's why he's kind of depressed and everything, but it just seemed like he was depressed the entire movie, and then all of a sudden, that, he's just, oh yeah, alright, I'll help you. There was no, I mean, in my opinion, and, I saw it a couple times, he didn't really have a reason. I mean, he had Rey, but that wouldn't, it wasn't really enough reason that I saw that he would go and do that.
I just want the one thing that like I would say about that was the whole visit with Yoda, where Yoda was kind of convincing him like we don't only need to pass on like our successes as well, but our failures as teachers. And I think, I'm not saying that specific part inspired him, but I think just like the whole spiel that Yoda gave to Luke kind of inspired him to like make things right with Ben. And if you remember, he didn't go necessarily to save Ben. He went to just tell him like that he was sorry for what he did, and to let him know that the Jedi are coming back. You know?
Right. I don't know. It seemed like. I mean, to be mad and to, be gone into isolation for 30 years, and then I can understand your old master coming back and explaining that to you, but it seemed like they were like, oh, he hates his life, he hates his life, he hates his life, and then all of a sudden, oh, okay, yep, I will help you guys. I think everything they had was good, but it should have,
just a little bit more.
Yeah.
It was
very crammed together.
It was a bit of a sudden change.
Right.
Could have used just a tiny bit more.
Right, just a little bit more.
One of the things we're sort of talking about is how this film, everyone has their own ideas. It's quite controversial. For example, like on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 90%, but the audience review is like 50%. So I don't understand what's going on there. But just more like what we need to talk about is what you guys dislike about the film. Because there are definitely some problems with it.
The main thing I disliked about the film was Admiral Holdo as a character in general.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like she was a necessary character. Yeah, the scene where she went through Snoke's ship was sweet, and destroying all the destroyers behind her. But that was the only cool thing she did. I don't understand a thing that she did throughout the rest of the film.
Well,
why did she have to hide the plan from Poe?
Well,
I don't understand
that kind of goes into the Clone Wars. She's bigger in the Clone Wars, and as you know, they are canon. But she's really big there, and I can see where you're arguing about the Poe, because I think that's kind of just, you'll find that even in the common military, you respect the rankings and all this. It's because. Let's say you have drawings on a map to let's avoid this path, but if someone sees that, they think, oh, we're going to go into that path, and they know that that's a bad, turn of events. They're going to think, oh, they're just trying to kill us. They're not trying to actually save us. So I see that, but at the same time, I don't know if I felt that she was unnecessary. I definitely did not like the way that Snoke died. Like I thought it was interesting at first. I thought it was really cool, but then the second time I was like, this guy is supposedly, if I'm correct, he trained Darth Vader, and he trained Kylo Ren. So he's trained multiple Siths, and he's been he's supposed to have this ultimate power. You see him literally bring Rey to him, and she's supposed to have power that no one knows how limited it is. So he clearly has power over her, and it's just because, you turned a lightsaber, but I thought it was in your hand and not
like he should have seen that coming.
Yeah, like I definitely thought that he could have been like, no.
I agree. It was kind of not necessarily stupid, but it was like kind of ridiculous, the idea of that. But I did think it was a good a way for Kylo to like bring his character development a full way around in this.
Right.
I thought it was necessary to kill Snoke in this. The way they did it, it could have been a lot.
No, I agree completely. I think that was a great character development. It showed that he actually does care, but I did not it was just the way that they killed him off.
Yes.
Yeah. The other big scene I had a problem with that I know a lot of people didn't like was the whole casino planet scene.
Oh yeah.
That was
long.
And the main reason I didn't like that was because, another reason was if Holdo would have shared her plan with everyone, that scene wouldn't have needed to happen. Which is another problem I have with Holdo.
I think the reason, sort of going back to your point about like why Holdo didn't tell Poe, earlier on, like Poe, like he goes off, does like this mission, like everyone sort of gets killed, and like he's this hotshot pilot, really irresponsible. So I guess from her point of view, like, why would she entrust like this, like, last hope plan with this guy that sort of like ruined the Resistance's chance?
I understand that, but it was almost like no one else on board knew what the plan was, because the character, I don't remember the character's name, but the actor is Carrie Fisher's daughter, was on his side. A bunch of other like soldiers were on his side who you saw like point their guns at Holdo to get her to like relieve her from duty. So Poe wasn't the only person that didn't know. So I feel like she definitely could have told someone, and then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But like it was almost as if no one knew what the plan was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Which bothered me.
And like one other thing that I had, and they did this in the Force Awakens as well, is they just wasted Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand, you know, that actor, it's going to be very expensive, you know, to keep her and to have her for so many lines, but, like, when they were fighting, and he went to try to sting her, I guess, or stun her, you know, it showed that it didn't work, but then all of a sudden the next time he tried it, it worked, and it pushed her off, like, it just, and didn't just, it just didn't, it felt like a waste. It was like, oh, she's here, you know, all this. It was...
What would you guys give this movie out of 10? So for me, I'll start off. Just give you some time to think. I would give this movie a 9 out of 10.
I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was good, but there were definitely some problems with it.
I would definitely have to say an 8 out of 10. It was good, but definitely not the best Star Wars movie. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.